And like you've said, this is a landmark listing. It's the first time that the nation is officially listing Eurobond in Nigeria. And it's quite major because this is something that has been in the making for, I would say, maybe almost 3 years, with consistent engagements with the DMO from FMDQ's part. Just trying to show the importance of being able to list or listing its Eurobond in the country. So yes, it raised the dollars offshore, and then that pretty much is where it ends. But then the visibility that it can bring, even in the country, listing the Eurobond in the country, I think is huge. It's enormous. There's a massive pool of funds that could be invested in Eurobonds. So I think the DOM account balances are probably up to about $6 billion. And we're probably getting to this point where we'll be able to even raise dollars solely and fully in the country, raise a lot in Nigeria. And probably we call that, like we nickname it Afro dollar, getting to that point where we'll do that. So it's a fantastic feat. It's amazing. It's a wonderful feat, and many congratulations to the DMO for taking this first step.
Yeah, you talk about the significance of this listing. Yes, by the government. I'm sure the government is very excited. The DMO, the debt office, is also very excited about it, and I am excited as well. But again, let's stretch the significance a little bit further for the FMDQ that you describe as the home of bonds in Nigeria, because you warehouse close to about 20 trillion naira of bonds, both FGN and corporate. So you know as the home of bonds. But again, this significance is to the extent that this will be listed in dollars. So how will the trading go moving forward from Friday when it's listed on your securities exchange?
Okay, so you have the Eurobonds listed on an exchange like FMDQ, and you have the visibility of that. You have a pool of investors that will probably be more curious about it. So I have, and I spoke about the DOM account balances, I have US dollars in Nigeria, for instance, and instead of just leaving that, leaving the funds in my account and maybe getting almost next to nothing in interest rates, I can actually invest that in Eurobonds. Now, for FMDQ's part, what it is we're doing, we're working very closely with Euroclear to try and ensure the operational efficiency of the Eurobonds. So you could go to your bank and say you want to buy or invest in Eurobonds, but then there's the settlement part of it, and that's the work we're trying to do in FMDQ with Euroclear to ensure that pretty much straight through process of the Eurobonds. It's major for FMDQ, very significant for FMDQ, and obviously the nation as a whole being able, like I said, to list and trade these Eurobonds in Nigeria. When Eurobonds started so many years ago, I think Europe, London, made that popular. So we're trying to get to the point where even Nigeria, Africa, can make that popular. And like I said, like I alluded to, having something called the Afro bond or the Afro dollar. So what will happen is you can actually raise money in Nigeria in a completely different currency, and obviously that would start with having that sort of visibility and that ability to be able to trade Eurobonds on an exchange like FMDQ.
Yes, to me, for those that have dollars in their DOM account or domiciliary accounts by now, perhaps they're already thinking of how to knock on your door, bola on the dealer's doors, and say, look, I got some dollars sitting in my domiciliary account. Why, instead of just keeping it there and doing nothing, perhaps I should just buy part of this $1 billion Eurobond. Now, the question is, the returns on this will be also in dollars.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, it would be. And like I said, so you earn some coupon in a dollar-denominated bond. So obviously what you get at the end of the day would be dollars as well.
How will this work? Will there be a conversion?
So the government will raise, okay, first of all, maybe I'd say, yes, it's fantastic, and obviously we would all want to rush in and try to invest in these Eurobonds as well. But as I alluded to, it's a step-by-step process. So I wouldn't imagine that I could, or just sort of go and take out maybe the $100 from my DOM account and say I want to invest in Eurobonds. It's probably something that would happen over time. You know, there'll obviously be a minimum spend and all of that. So it's not tomorrow. So first of all, no one should come to knock on FMDQ's doors, because we wouldn't even do the selling of the Eurobonds. You'd have to go through your bank. And again, like I said, there will be minimum requirements and all of that. But it's more about the potential, where we're heading to as a market as a whole. You know, being able to give that opportunity for everyone to be able to, like I said, invest in Eurodollars. But not only that, even for the government, for corporates to be able to raise money in a foreign currency, foreign currency denominated bonds, even in Nigeria. So you don't necessarily have to go to Europe, for instance, to be able to get that funding you require if you needed funding in another currency. And yes, your coupons would be in that other currency as well.
Yeah, to me, I understand that. For example, some of our banks that did what you call commercial bonds in dollars or whatever, and list them on the London Stock Exchange, perhaps New York Stock Exchange, would now have, they can do that via FMDQ.
So the first listing is the FGN Eurobonds, so it's the government Eurobonds. The corporates haven't started listing their Eurobonds on a local exchange. What this signifies, you know, what this listing signifies is it's opening the way, it's paving the way for corporates to be able to do that. So again, the corporate Eurobonds have not been listed. What you would have maybe on an exchange like FMDQ is permitted trading status. So what it is, you would find some information on that, and if you wanted to invest in it, you'd have to go to the bank and make inquiries. It wouldn't be traded on the exchange necessarily. You know, you still have the trading offshore. But what the federal government has done is opened that, you know, paved the way for this to happen in the future. So again, it's not as easy as just, you know, we've had it listed and then tomorrow you can go and invest in Eurobonds of other corporates. Yes. To me,
I'm sorry. I have to interject there. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Apologies for that. We're all excited about this. Thanks for raising the curtain today for us, and congratulations tomorrow when the listing comes to your board. To me, Sikone, Vice President in charge of Marketing and Business Development at the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange. We'll be back into the program continues.